Thank you, Ramesh Garu, for those kind words, because I think మీరు తెలుగులో చెప్పినా ఆంగ్లంలో చెప్పినా చాలా చక్కగా అన్ని విషయాలు కూడా ఆర్ఈసీ ఏం చేస్తుంది, తెలంగాణ ప్రభుత్వంతో కలిసి మీరు ఏం చేయదలుచుకున్నారో చెప్పినందుకు మీకు హృదయపూర్వకంగా ముందుగా ధన్యవాదాలు, శుభాకాంక్షలు. ఇక్కడ తెలుగు రాని వాళ్ళు ఎంతమంది ఉన్నారు? అక్కడికే పోవాలా? ఓకే, కెన్ వి స్విచ్ ఇట్ ఆఫ్ ఆర్ పక్కకు పోనా లేకపోతే? రైట్. Anyways, let me start with a piece of good news, because I've just asked a question. I said, how many people do not speak Telugu? And I only saw, because I've realized after asking the question that even the question was asked in Telugu. So, well, that's what happens when you're come in here at 3:30 in the morning and you're here again. Thank you, Jayesh, for making me come here. So, Jay and the entire team of T-Hub, and firstly, Ramesh ji from REC. This wonderful initiative, my compliments. But let me start with two good news first, and then I'll go to REC and T-Hub and what we're trying to accomplish here. The first piece of good news is, in fact, country's Chief Economic Advisor, Arvind Subramaniam, has just released the Economic Outlook and Economic Survey for 2017-18. And for the first time, the state of Telangana has joined the top 5 league. And the report that has been released actually shows that top 5 states that have contributed to 70% of exports out of India, and these states include the traditional bases like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Karnataka, which have always been traditionally long manufacturing states. But I'm delighted and thrilled and excited that Telangana has now joined the top 5, and eventually I think with the way our Honorable Chief Minister is leading the state, I do believe that we will be in the top 1 or 2 league very, very soon. So firstly, I wanted to share that piece of good news, and that means, what that means by extension. What does that mean in terms of realistic outcomes? What it means essentially is, as we export more, we manufacture more. So when you manufacture more, you create more jobs, more blue-collar jobs, especially for children who've done their ITIs, for children who've done their diplomas. That means basically in Telangana, the industry footprint is increasing. The exports are growing. This obviously, I would presume, also would include IT exports. If it does not include IT exports, then I would definitely say it would be even more. In fact, if you include IT exports, it would be much, much more. Even if you exclude it, the very fact that Telangana has joined this big league is big news for me. And this is good news for the youth of Telangana, because I think this should give them hope that a lot of employment is being created and will continue to be created in the state of Telangana. The second piece of good news I wanted to share with you guys is, as you all know, we had a long 2-week tour, myself, Jayesh, and my entire team of industry, IT. So the second piece of good news is my compliments to Team T-Hub, because one of their incubatees, Banyan Nation, has won the circular awards at the World Economic Forum, and it is possibly the only Indian startup to have won an award at such a prestigious forum. And I'm delighted that that startup also has come from Telangana and Hyderabad, and it's a T-Hub incubator. So my compliments to the entire team of T-Hub, because I know you guys have been doing a great job. And the wow factor, when anybody and everybody who walks in here, like what Ramesh Garu had to say today, I think has not just stated that. The beautiful part is, the wow factor about how cool the facility looks is not what T-Hub is all about. It's not just about the physical space, the cool interiors, but it's more about what outcomes we've been able to create. Ramesh Garu, I just wanted to share a couple of things with you about T-Hub. When we launched T-Hub in November 2015, we had hardly any incubators in Hyderabad. I think there were less than 5. But today, I'm delighted to share with you, according to the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, the maximum number of incubators and co-working spaces in this country today are in Hyderabad. So what you see here is just one T-Hub, and the building is called Catalyst. The intent of this building and Catalyst, and the idea was that we act as a agent, we act as a catalytic agent, and we create more and more innovation and more entrepreneurs from Hyderabad. Delighted to share with you that we have the country's largest number of incubators and co-working spaces today in our own city of Hyderabad, and that number seems to be growing every so often, because each and every person we meet across the world, they seem to be having very, very interesting problems, and we seem to be able to provide solutions. I'll just give you one example. So Carlsberg, a beer that I think is very popular, the CEO of Carlsberg wanted to meet in WEF, the World Economic Forum. First of all, I was a little apprehensive. I even told my PR guys. I said, please don't give this news out to press because the media would eat me alive. They would say, what is he doing with a beer company CEO? What is he trying to do? Increase alcohol consumption in the state or what? I said, please don't say it out. But I'm saying it out now because after the meeting I've realized their problem is very unique. This gentleman walks up to me and he says, listen, we have a problem. Can you help us find a solution? I said, what is it? He says, right now if you have to produce 1 liter of beer, we have to use 3.8 liters of water. Now, ideally, I would like to bring it down to 2 liters, but even if I can bring it down to 3 liters, that would be a substantial achievement and it would help me conserve a lot of water. It's good for the environment. You talked about Paris Accord. So I said, that's great. And then immediately we had Srini there with us. So I said, Srini, can we help him? So now we are going to actually create a program. We're going to work with someone like Carlsberg and try and create a program which actually achieves. These are the kind of unique challenges that REC or large corporations, they face across the world. It's not just confined to Hyderabad. It's not just confined to Delhi. It's not just confined to India. These are the problems. These are the problem sets that we see across the world. Now that is where I think young startups, young Indians, accelerators and incubators and co-working spaces, call them whatever. But these have now become truly the new laboratories of India, of the world, where problems are being, addressed, are being tackled head on. I'm delighted someone as eminent as REC has come in. Rural Electrification Corporation is a name to reckon with across the country. Because I myself remember when I first became a legislator in 2009, the program Rajiv Gandhi RGGY was going on and REC was instrumental in pushing electricity into the rural households. Yes, the mandate is big, I know. By March end, you have to complete the entire country. And by the end of the year, you are supposed to electrify every single household in the country. That's the mandate given to you. I'm not envious of the target given to you, but I do hope and I do believe that you will be able to accomplish with a very, very able team that you have, sir. Now, sir, going back to this whole idea, I'd like to also quickly address that. 1,800 students from 30 institutions being selected, basically to come out with 600 projects. I see several vice chancellors of Hyderabad Central University, a big team here, Professor Sambaya, and I also have seen Mr. KT Rama Rao somewhere, Professor KT Rama Rao, and we see the Higher Education Council itself here represented by Honorable Chairman Papi Reddy Garu. We have a unique opportunity here. Institutions in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh together. I think 30 institutions have been selected, out of which 1,800 students would be brought on board. 600 projects to begin with, I believe, will be taken up. And then eventually out of these 600, you'll drill down to 30. And eventually out of these 30, we'll drill down to 3. The focus is on renewable energy. The focus is on the mandate of Government of India and of REC. And T-Hub will essentially be the platform where all these young guys can actually solve the problem, crack the puzzle, because the world is looking at this. In fact, I must also share with you another piece of very, very exciting news. And that is, I think, which is already known, but still, let me say it. Today, in the country, in the entire country, Telangana is number 1 on solar production as well. That among all the 29 states, Telangana has not left any specific aspect in governance untouched. From Haritaharam, which is about improving our green cover, from Mission Kakatiya, which is about rejuvenating our lakes, also to solar production. Why did I mention these 3 projects only, these 3 important aspects only? Because all of them are in one way or the other related to environment. Lake rejuvenation is about water conservation, water harvesting. Solar production is about ensuring that we have energy which is absolutely in sync, in consonance with nature. And also the most important aspect, like I mentioned, Telangana producing and becoming the number 1 in the country on solar. We are right now meeting our energy requirement. 16% of it actually comes today from solar. There is also a great deal of potential for wind energy production in Telangana. There's also a great deal of potential for wind, solar, hybrids. And there is also a huge, huge opportunity for India as a country. Remember, we are a sunshine country. India is a sunshine country. We have 300 plus days of sunshine, which is very, very rare. And we don't appreciate when we live in India. When you go to cold countries like Switzerland and Japan and Korea, you appreciate sunshine very much, trust me. I was there 2 weeks. Point I'm trying to make is we are a sunshine country. And if we are able to crack this code, if we're able to find this missing piece of the puzzle, wherein we actually have kids starting to work on storage spaces, So we can produce whatever you produce during the day can be leveraged in the night, can be stored in the night, and can be given, at a very, very relatively inexpensive price to whatever sector. You can have industry running 3 shifts, industry running in the night as well. And we can even have a lot of agricultural activity happening in the night. We can have a lot more things if you're able to crack the storage piece. And I think that is what Jay was referring to when he talked about Tesla. Tesla is working on storage, and so are a number of other companies. But I think Indians should not be left behind in this game. And young Indians, I think, who can, if they apply their heads together, their collective thoughts together with the help of a able PSU like REC, will be able to crack the code. And if that breakthrough comes from India, then I think, we will be saving a lot of money. In fact, he just talked about how we are building a huge ultra mega power project in Yadadri. I'm worried that it might become redundant if somebody cracks this very, very quickly. But nevertheless, I think it's something that's worth it. Because on the one hand, you have to continue to plan for future, continue to plan for future expansion. At the same time, you also have to start thinking about, Ramesh Garu talked about Paris Accord. While Donald Trump may have decided to walk out of it, I think countries like India have held on. And we continue to move ahead, and we continue to innovate, we continue to actually commit ourselves and rededicate ourselves to ensuring that our effort and our commitment goes even stronger and becomes even more stronger. So delighted with the initiative. Now Rural Electrification Corporation, and T-Hub coming together and curating all these guys and coming out with some projects. And that is, in fact, what really defines what T-Hub says there: converge, create, and connect. So converge, connect, and create. Now convergence of a PSU with a vibrant startup engine like T-Hub is what this combination is truly about. Once the convergence of idea, they have a problem, they have given us the problem statement. Now we help them solve the problem. We'll help them with the help of course, all the academic institutions and also Higher Education Council and all the young children. We will be creating more and more opportunities. Let me also take this opportunity to request the chairman himself of Higher Education Council and also all the vice chancellors. Hyderabad alone, like I said, has more than 35 creative labs, incubators. Why can't each and every one of our universities have more and more labs? I know IIT Hyderabad is working on healthcare. CCMB is working on its own vertical, molecular biology innovation. I'm sure Hyderabad Central University is also doing something specific. So should be the case with Nizamabad University, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University, and so should be the case with every single institute in this country. Because let me also share with you a quick example of what I mean. I was in Hamamatsu, a small place which is almost 2.5 hours away from Tokyo recently. This is where Suzuki is headquartered. So we had gone to meet the chairman of Suzuki. There was a small Suzuki museum which kind of shows you the story of how Suzuki evolved over the last 80 years or 70 years, I don't remember exactly. They showed us all the things. In fact, it started as a textile company, and then it eventually made forays into motorcycle making, and then eventually cars, etc., etc. So when we were walking around at 9 o'clock in the morning, we saw about 200 school children, all of them in their possibly primary or upper primary schools. 200 plus school children, all Japanese children. Each of them going to a specific cubicle where, a car in all its different parts is broken down. There's a lot of simulation there. And all of these children are actually taking notes, scribbling down, sitting there, talking to the instructor from a very, very, very young stage, very, very early stage, very, very young age. The Japanese children are inculcating a sense of a concept of design, concept of manufacturing. Now these children, imagine this, from an age of 5, 6, and 7, if they start looking at how to manufacture cars, how could they not become truly amazing engineers in days to come? At least 10% of them, if not all of them. And that is what Japan has become today. In spite of all the obstacles, in spite of all the natural, impediments they have, earthquakes, tsunamis, and they're a huge island surrounded by ocean all over. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, you know the story about the nuclear attacks. In spite of that, imagine and see for yourself how they've bounced back to become one of the largest economies in the world, top 2 or top 3 economies in the world. In spite of not having so many things, just their sheer intellect. Now, if we are able to inculcate something very similar in our elementary education, in our high school education, in our upper primary schools, in our engineering schools, because, sorry to say this, sir, but our children in our engineering schools today are still not truly in the sense of the word, engineers of the day they come out. They're still rough around the edges. I'm not saying they're not good. I'm saying they're still rough around the edges even when they walk out. So we are trying our bit, but I request all the vice chancellors of the respective universities to also come out with some initiatives which will ensure that we are able to actually make our students, make our children more, more focused on outcomes, more focused on how to solve problems rather than just being theoretical, rather than just being good engineers in the truest sense of the word. The second thing I would like to say, the last thing I would say, in fact, is my request also to you, all of you, is we are trying to forge a partnership between the industry and the academia, because that's extremely important. And unless we crack that piece, whatever theory you teach, however well you teach, will only remain in their heads and does not really translate into something meaningful and actionable. So my request also is, let's start forging partnerships with the industry. Jayesh is working on it. He can continue to guide you. In fact, we are looking at multiple options and multiple solutions to further this cause. So I will definitely call you back, myself and the Education Minister at some point. We'll call you back for a meaningful discussion, and let's create something which truly gives our children an opportunity to experience practice school, to experience apprenticeship, to experience industrial revolution and be prepared for industrial revolution 4.0 well ahead of time. So once again, my compliments, many compliments to REC, T-Hub, to the entire team on this wonderful initiative, and I do hope great deal of success, and I wish every PSU was like you, sir. I wish every PSU had the ability to take problems head on and did not have the ego, more importantly, to come out in the open and say, I have a problem, I need a solution, why don't you work with me? Because many PSUs refuse to admit that they have a problem, which in itself is the biggest problem. So my compliments to you and your team on actually coming out so openly and actually working with someone like T-Hub on something which is extremely important, not just for our state and our country, but for future generations and our future children as well, the renewable energy. So thank you very much. Good luck.